I was really into Steam machines. Like I bought both of them. I bought it before it came out, and it was the Windows Alienware, and then the Linux, the the actual SteamOS one. I didn't know that at the time. They actually had different hardware, so the wireless module worked worse on the Linux one. I didn't know that till later. And so we're at Ubuntu, and we do sprints all over, and we were doing one in Bellevue, Washington, right? And I was like a big gaming, I was as into it as you all, right? And I was like, man, do you think? I was like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try it, because it is Linux, and we know some of the same people, surely. So I mailed someone whatever the PR address is or whatever, and I was like, hey, my team is gonna be up there. We work in the cloud part of Ubuntu. Like I didn't know they were already talking to whoever. I don't know. They could have been. I didn't know. And do you want to talk? Because this controller is supposed to come out soon, and I would love to have that working day one. I was like, we're going to have that controller working day one. And we're getting on the plane with all our cloud friends. I was like, we're going to get the Steam controller to work. And people were like, what are you talking about? Don't worry about it. So I took him out to beers. One guy was John Vert, and then Pierre Loup, which is, you still follow that today, right?
Yep.
So we're hanging out, we're having beers with them. We're just talking Linux stuff. It's like really cool. Cause when you go and you hang out with people like that, right, you think the very first thing you can ask them is stuff that they can't tell you, right? So you're kind of prodding, trying to figure out what you can get, right? So it's like, so what do you think about the driver stack and 6.2, whatever the kernel version was that day or whatever. So you're learning all that kind of stuff. And we had previously arranged that he was like, hey, I can give you one or two. You think you can get it to work in Ubuntu when we ship? I was like, hell yeah, I can. And so we went to the bar. There was like 5 or 6 of us. Everyone's talking. They pull them out. Right, but we're at a pub, so you can't play anything or whatever, right? So they were only going to give us 2. One was for enablement, and the other one was for me, because I was like, if I'm going to go risk, I'm keeping this thing, and I still have it. And so they gave us to us, and kind of cool, and he's telling us what he can about it, and all that kind of stuff. And like Wayne brought a screwdriver. He's like trying to take it apart. I was like, dude, no. And so then we hung out. It was like pretty cool. We get back to the hotel, and developer sprints are the same thing. It's like a hotel room that someone rented in the basement of the thing. And it's all laptops and switches. We brought our own access points, just nerd city. And everyone's like shoving all their work equipment out of the way, because we brought a PC. We're hooking it up to the projector. We're booting up into like the thing. And then, well, here's what Valve gave us or whatever. It was the UDEV rules. So we got to package that. So these were the cloud nerds. So in order to put something in Ubuntu, you have to have rights, right? And this was an Ubuntu developer to get it into main, because that's a UDEV rule. So it had to be a certain person who we had. There was only one guy. His name was Martin. Who had these permissions. So it's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stress out, we're going to test the hell out of this thing or whatever. And then we have someone actually in Australia, I forget that developer's name at the time, who's going to do the review, to make sure, and we had lined all that up or whatever. And all you need to do is we'll get it going. However, we're running out of time. So we will do it, commit it to version control. We'll all go home because the sprint's over. And he lived in the UK and we're in Washington. Right. And then I'll get home and we'll do the push after I get the review from so-and-so. And I was like, sounds good to me. Martin ended up what we call the Ubu flu, which is like when you go to conferences and stuff, there's people flying in from all over the world. So you get sick.
Right.
And the dude gets dreadfully sick, like for a week or whatever. And the Steam controller came out like 2 days after the sprint. And I'm sitting there going, man, I told them we would do this stuff, and it looks like I just tricked them to get a free Steam controller, to have like the first one. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out how can we get these UDEV rules to somebody else so that we can try to, like, I'm trying to call in every favor. I'm like calling the kernel team, I was like, hey, dude, we don't do UDEV rules here, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out who I can get. And eventually we figured out, and it went, into the thing. And that's that Steam devices repo in the Valve software thing. So that's like my cool Steam controller story. And then I still have it. I ended up buying 4 of them. So like, yeah, because friends come over, right? You have to have the thing. And then like, yeah, that was a cool thing we did. I thought that was pretty neat.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Was that one okay?
Yeah.